All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick's on the Power. I just wanted to make a video on a golden era bodybuilder, a German bodybuilder by the name of Jusup Wilcosz. Now, I've made a video about Jusup in the past, but recently I got contacted by a member of teamandro.com. You guys may be familiar with them. They're a contest coverage website. They did a very recent interview with Jusup in German, and they actually spent about 2 hours translating the interview to English for me, because they wanted me to make a video about some of the things they talked about in their interview. So before we get started with some of that stuff, I want to give you guys some background on Jusup Wilcosz. He is a golden era bodybuilder competing primarily in the 70s and 80s. You're going to see many, many photos of him with Arnold Schwarzenegger because he was the training partner of Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the 70s. But he competed primarily in the 80s, and he was most known for his 80s Mr. Olympia appearances. Now, aside from Dennis Wolf, you could make an argument that Jusup Wilcosz is the best German bodybuilder of all time, or at least the second best, next to a guy like Dennis Wolf, winning the 1979 Mr. Universe competition, then going on to place top 10 at the Mr. Olympia 4 times, placing 6th in 1981, 6th again in 83, 10th in 82, and then coming back in 84 and moving all the way up to 3rd place at the Mr. Olympia. Now, that 84 Olympia appearance was arguably one of his best showings in bodybuilding, placing 3rd behind the likes of a legendary Muhammad Makawe, and of course, Lee Haney won the Olympia that year. But in that lineup, there were 20 other competitors, or I should say 29 other competitors, one of the deepest lineups of the 80s Olympias. You had guys like Samir Bannout, Bob Paris, Sergio Oliva, who made his comeback, Roy Callender, Tom Platz, Bob Birdsong, Chris Dickerson, a former Mr. Olympia, Tony Pearson, Boyer Coe, Bill Grant, Robbie Robinson, Charles Glass. I mean, the list goes on, and all those guys that I listed are guys that Jusup beat in 1984, legendary bodybuilders. So the reason why Team Andro reached out to me, and I want to give credit to Fabian from teamandro.com here, he's the one that reached out to me specifically, is because apparently Jusup is running into some financial troubles lately. He's not doing very well. Being the legendary bodybuilder that he is, it's really sad to see someone like that in that kind of situation. So I'm going to include some pieces of that interview in the rest of this video here. As I mentioned before, Arnold and Jusup were training partners, Arnold Schwarzenegger, that is. And in the interview, the interviewer asked Jusup about his time with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Jusup says, "My time with Arnold was great. We did work out together, but we also had a lot of fun outside of the gym. Arnold once said to me, 'My life is like a dream, and I hope it never ends.' While working out, Arnold was like a locomotive. You just needed to join him. Arnold and I were great friends. Once he allowed me to live in his house for a while, and I even drove his Harley. Franco was also often there, and we would always drink a glass of wine together." So that's something I actually did not know, that him and Arnold had lived together at one point. I knew they were training partners for a very long period of time, and there's a lot of photos of them together, a lot of pretty famous golden era photos of them together in the gym in Gold's Gym Venice. Now, the interviewer asked Jusup a very interesting question here towards the end of the interview. He said, "So Arnold versus Samir Bannout versus Lee Haney, all of them at their best, who would win the Mr. Olympia?" And Jusup replies, "They are 3 great Olympia champions. I competed against both Haney and Bannout back in the days. As I mentioned earlier in this video, the 1984 Mr. Olympia, he took 3rd, obviously to Lee Haney." So he goes on to say, "I would say that of those 3, Arnold would be the winner. He was the best poser. His twisted back poses were unique and so smooth and flexible. Also, his waist was very small for his size and weight. It's important to pose the right way in the comparisons. Samir was also very good, but he would be too small in comparison to Arnold. But I would place him in front of Lee Haney because Samir was the more complete and beautiful physique. Haney had the most mass, but not a small waist. To me, he wasn't that complete, but his legs and his shoulders were brutal. All 3 are great bodybuilders." So I wanted to end this video with this final question here. So the final question the interviewer asked Jusup, after talking about his long and storied friendship with Arnold Schwarzenegger throughout the golden era bodybuilding, he asked him, "Do you still have any contact with Arnold?" And Jusup says, "Unfortunately not, but I would really love to meet him again one day." So the guys over at Team Andro really emphasized that I mentioned this in the video, because what we want to do here is we want to reunite these 2 golden era legends. We want to reunite Jusup and Arnold. Now, obviously, as I mentioned before, Jusup isn't doing too well financially. He's also 70 years old, so he's getting up there in age. So who knows how long he's really going to be around. And one of his dreams is to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger again. And this is a guy that he was friends with back in the golden era of bodybuilding, training partners, friends. They lived together, they drank together. So the hope is that someone who knows Arnold will see this video and share it with Arnold, and we can get Arnold somehow in contact with Jusup Wilcosz and reunite these two. So please share this video. If you know anybody that knows Arnold Schwarzenegger, or if you happen to know Arnold Schwarzenegger yourself, please share this video with Arnold, and let's try to get Jusup reunited with his golden era training partner. Please give this video a thumbs up, share it, comment it. Let's get this done, guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.